Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Paradise Valley. This is episode number 21, and in this episode, we're going to start progress on the Luxor Hotel and Casino. And this is a project that I already knew I was going to do from the beginning because there were already these great assets on the workshop from Crazy Glue. So I knew I was eventually going to make it to the Luxor Casino. And my initial thought going into this episode was that it wasn't going to take long because I didn't have to make any custom assets or anything like that. But one thing that I've realized is that the less I have to do, the more I actually start doing. And so I've created a lot of different props for this build, and some of them you'll get to see in this episode because there was just so much that I had to squeeze in, and I couldn't fit all of that into one episode. And the area itself is a lot bigger than the last project that I did, the Monte Carlo Casino, but it's not nearly as big as some of the other resorts that I've done, like the MGM or the City Center casinos. So right here I'm just playing around with the monorail and playing around with the road layout to really try to get a feel for how I want to plan things out. One thing that I did notice when trying to place roads around the Sphinx is that I had to navigate under these barriers or the base of the building that comes when you elevate it, because it's not meant to be elevated. And so I did encounter some problems with that. I had to use some of these one-way roads from network extensions because any of the other roads were just too big or too wide to fit under the Sphinx. What you'll see me doing eventually is I was just not 100% satisfied with that road layout, with just kind of having these 3 one-way roads or one-lane one-way roads, which just was not that functional. Is I ended up going in the asset editor and changing some of the properties of the Sphinx so that it had no base and I could create my own base and pretty much use any roads that I wanted to use. I also edited some of the textures to make the Sphinx a little darker. You see right here, I'm just playing around and placing some of these parking lots. Looking at Google Maps, the Luxor really has a lot of surface parking and parking lots around the front. There's not really a whole lot going on with the front of the Luxor. So I'm trying to replicate that by using different parking lots. I'm using a couple of parking lots from parking lot roads, and I'm placing some of these also gray or light gray parking lots. In the end, I end up removing the 2 middle parking lot roads. I just couldn't stand it when the cars would drive. They just take off from anywhere and park in the middle. And so I didn't want them driving all through the props and the details that I was placing. So I ended up changing those, and I changed those to the light gray parking lots. Right here you see me placing these Venetian pools. As I was placing these, I really didn't want to spend a lot of detail or a lot of time detailing around them because I was just really kind of over this particular pool at this point. And I just kind of thought it's about time for me to make new pools anyway. I started working on some pools for the Aria Hotel, but really, the less I talk about the Aria, the better. I'm just kind of over all of those casinos and anything to do with that particular resort at this moment. So, but of course, or hopefully, that's something that we'll revisit later on in the series, is really going back and starting work on that set of casinos again and finishing a lot of the things that I didn't get a chance to finish and redoing some of the things that were lost. So you see me right here also experimenting with some tunnels. In Vegas, there's a lot of tunnels and a lot of tunnels that lead to parking garages and underground parking and a lot of different things that I don't know since I've actually never driven around in Vegas. On Google Maps, there's a ton of tunnels, which I don't really feel like they work well for what I'm doing here. But tunnels are something that I kind of want to start doing a little bit more of in the series. Pretty much the main thing that I'm using for detailing around the Luxor are a lot of Beard Monkey's props that he did for the Osiris series, which include a lot of really Egyptian themed and temples that obviously work well for the Luxor casino. And going back and looking at some of these screenshots and everything, I did feel like these assets were really dark. So I'm using this wall to just kind of build a structure around the monorail, really similar to what I did for the Camelot casino. And so I'm really just playing around with a lot of different stuff by Beard Monkey and seeing what fits. Eventually, I was pretty satisfied with how everything turned out, but still, I just felt like the color was dark. The assets themselves are really incredible. I can tell that they were made for a more realistic pyramid. Basically, I'm going for a more fake look versus a realistic look with this casino. Like, I don't want a real temple, I want a fake replica temple. So eventually, like most things, I end up going into the asset editor or 3D Max and exporting a lot of Beard Monkey's props. And all I had to do on his was just lighten the texture. And to get a more consistent texture between his props and the Luxor casino, I wanted to have those two blend in more together. So pretty much everything you see me placing right here, I end up deleting and replacing with some lighter versions. I almost didn't end up doing that because I just felt like when I was initially placing everything and kind of laying out everything, I want to say it took a long time, but on the grand scale of things, it really didn't take that long. But I was really opposed to going back and redoing everything. But again, when you're doing something the second time around and you already know what you're going to do and where you're going to place everything, it's a lot easier and the process goes by a lot quicker than the first time around. So things are always better the second time around. And you see that right here, I don't have to, test anything or lay anything out. I just have to really delete what I already have and replace it with these lighter versions. But yeah, I end up much happier with the way things look with the lighter color. With the Sphinx, I end up actually darkening that color a little bit. I don't know if you'll get to see it in this episode, but the actual Luxor Hotel, and not the pyramid, but the Luxor Hotel, I end up taking the illumination map off that asset. I really hate the night lights in Cities Skylines in general, but his particular version, like every single building or every single window was lit up in this real ugly yellow, and I just knew that I couldn't live with that. And so I had to go in the asset editor and export that and change that and re-import it. I think I spent like an entire day just exporting assets and importing assets, which takes an incredibly long time to do. Not that it doesn't require any more work to do, it's just the asset editor in Cities Skylines is really slow. So here you see me placing or replacing the Sphinx, which does not have the base under it, and that really gives me more flexibility to play around or design the road layout under the Sphinx. One thing that I do like, or I didn't think I liked it at first and I thought about ways to change it, but one thing I do like is the pedestrian path from the monorail station through the Sphinx into the pyramid. I like that now you can visibly see it underneath the Sphinx rather than just having it hidden. And so when you're driving up to the pyramid, you get to see all the pedestrians walking across the main road entry and into the pyramid. So for the rest of the episode, I'm still really trying to get a feel for the layout of everything and trying to get everything laid out. Placing a lot of these planters. These are some gravel planters that I made. With this build, I try to go a little further into the detailing than I otherwise would. Again, that goes back to me not having to make the main buildings. That just frees up more time to really add more in-game detail. So I'm really taking my time with the layout in this first episode. And in the next episode, I start to add a lot of the final details, the trees and road details and everything, and really try to tie everything up. I'm also going to be adding the pools and working on the main hotel. So y'all definitely hit the subscribe button if y'all haven't already, so y'all can catch that next episode. And as always, please hit the like button on this video. It really helps a lot as far as YouTube promoting the video and getting more people to see the video. And of course, if you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to leave those below in the comment sections. And one of the best rewards that I get out of playing this game and making assets for this game is being able to see my assets and my buildings in other people's screenshots. The main reason I even started watching Cities Skylines on YouTube was to see how other people were using my buildings. So I really love seeing everybody's screenshots. If you have any, y'all can tweet those to me at King Leno or follow me on Facebook. I'm also pretty much always looking at the posts on the Cities Skylines page on Reddit and in the Skylines Nation Cities Skylines Facebook group. So y'all can check the links in the description for all the different ways y'all can get in touch with me. And I hope that I will see everybody in the next episode.